One of my most favorite topics, yet extremely controversial, is how to hear God's voice. A lot of non-Christians think it's crazy, and even some Christians don't think it's possible. Yet Jesus himself said, "My sheep listen to my voice. I know them, and they follow me." The problem is, most people don't know how to hear him, and that's where I want to help you out. God is a gentleman, and he's always speaking to us, but we're often filtering him out. We live in a generation where people are used to being stimulated nonstop, making it almost impossible to hear him because the many times he does speak to us is during our stillness. We're called to pray and talk to God, but we're also called to be still and to listen to him. In any relationship, it's hard to listen and communicate when one person is constantly busy. And the same goes for our relationship with God. Reading the Bible, praying, and obeying God by living a godly life are parts of the relationship. But just as with any good friend, spouse, or parent, it's important to engage in activity in the relationship, and it's just as important to be silent and dedicate time to listening to the person. Being still helps us hear from God. When a person unplugs from the busyness of life, sits, relaxes, and enjoys nature or the calmness of a home, a lot of fascinating things happen in the brain. When we're still, our brain slows down its activity in regions that process external stimulation and intense thinking, such as the frontal cortex, which is essential for planning and critical thinking. At the same time, when we're still, our brain ramps up other networks, such as the default mode network. This brain network influences our daydreaming and self-reflection, boosting our self-awareness and emotional control. Being quietly still also helps reduce stress by lowering cortisol levels and calming our body. During moments of stillness, the Holy Spirit can profoundly influence us, providing guidance, comfort, and clarity. The thing is, God's a spirit, and so he communicates to us spirit to spirit, often through our own thoughts. Stillness helps us become more sensitive to these thoughts that are inspired by the Holy Spirit. In the book of Corinthians, it explains how our spirit can reveal the thoughts of God. For who knows a person's thoughts except their own spirit within them? In the same way, no one knows the thoughts of God except the Spirit of God. What we have received is not the spirit of the world, but the Spirit who is from God, so that we may understand what God has freely given us. This is what we speak, not in the words taught us by human wisdom, but in words taught by the Spirit, explaining spiritual realities with Spirit-taught words. These verses collectively support the idea that the Holy Spirit communicates with our spirit, and this communication often manifests as thoughts and impressions in our mind. This aligns with the broader biblical teaching that God speaks to us in a still, small voice, as seen in 1 Kings 19:12, and through the inward witness of the Holy Spirit, as described in Romans 8:16. I want to be clear, not all thoughts are from God. In fact, most of our thoughts are not, and sometimes we can even get evil thoughts from the enemy. However, Christians who live a holy, godly life, spend time in the Word, and pray regularly could discern the Holy Spirit's thoughts during times of stillness. So make sure to take some time during your week to be silent and listen for God's voice. God bless and take care.